Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Maimuna Akhtar from School of Pharmaceutical Education and Research, Jamia Hamdard. Here we are going to discuss about the module Applications of Chemiluminescence from paper Atomic Spectroscopy. After completing this module, you shall be able to understand the chemiluminescence and its various application of chemiluminescence in different fields of science, various agents and their mechanism of action in different field of analysis. Chemiluminescence is the production of light from a chemical reaction. We have discussed that in the introduction module also. When two different chemicals react to form an excited, that means high energy intermediate, which breaks down releasing some of its energy as photon of light, chemiluminescence is generally defined as the emission of light, which can be ultraviolet, visible, or infrared, as a result of a chemical reaction without using an external light source. It can be used, therefore, for study of various reaction kinetics, identification of chemicals in biological samples, like when you have a forensic sample. It can be used to study for dynamics of proteins, a study of DNA hybridization, adulterations in food products. Application of chemiluminescence in various fields. Currently, chemiluminescent reactions have found variety of analytical application in various scientific fields like pharmaceuticals, food industry, forensic, immunoassay, environment, clinical laboratories for diagnosis of disease and prognosis, in monitoring of patients for their treatment. The success of this technique in various fields is ascribed to their high sensitivity, simplicity of operation, wide linear range, and cost effectiveness. Also, because of absence of excitation light source and spectral resolving system, the interference in spectra is very less. In this module, we'll be focusing on application of chemiluminescent reactions in food industry, pharmaceuticals, immunoassay, and in forensics. Application of chemiluminescence in food analysis. Chemiluminescent detection has become quite useful tool in last few years due to its simplicity. It is often described as dark field technique. That is, the absence of strong background light level reduces the background signal and leads to improved detection limits. For nitrogen detection in food substances, chemiluminescence technique has been widely used. The most widely used nitrogen species is nitric oxide, and the reaction of nitrous oxide with ozone releases energy in the form of photon, which can be read by chemiluminescent instrument. The determination of N-nitrosoamines in food samples is very important because of carcinogenic character of the N-nitrosoamines. The N-nitrosoamines are characterized as volatile nitrosoamines and non-volatile nitrosoamines. Volatile nitrosoamines can be removed from food matrix by distillation and can be separated by gas chromatography, whereas non-volatile nitrosoamines are removed by extraction and derivation as methyl esters only. Their determination has been done on the basis of ability to make a complete breakdown of the bond between the nitroso compound and the amino part of the molecule. There are two methods for estimation of nitrosoamines in samples. Method 1 involves chemical denitrosation. It is done for identification of nitrosoamines in meat and sauces. The produced nitrous oxide is made react with ozone to form electronically excited nitrogen dioxide, which then decays back to the ground state with the emission of photon. The chemiluminescent emission is then detected and measured by a photomultiplier tube. Here you can see the reaction of secondary nitrosoamine, which yields an secondary amine and nitroso group. This nitroso group on reaction with ozone yields high energy nitrous acid group, and which releases energy while coming back to the ground state. The method 2 involves the treatment of N-nitroso compounds with sulfamic acid. This is done to destroy nitrite. In this case, N-nitroso compounds and N-nitroso precursors are treated with 110 millimole nitrite first and then sulfamic acid. Both the products obtained after sulfamic acid treatment are decomposed to nitrous oxide by refluxing with any of the acid like hydrogen bromide, hydrogen chloride, acetic acid, or ethyl acetate. The nitrous oxide produced is measured as chemiluminescence. This slide shows analytical application of some common chemiluminescent systems in food analysis. The first column shows the food additive, the nitrogen containing compounds or sugar or chemical preservative, metals or other substances present. And second column shows you analyte, which is tested. Sulfonamide, nitroso compounds, nitrosodimethylamines, N-nitrosoamine, glucose, lactose, even sucrose, chemical preservatives like paraben, methylparaben, ethylparaben, and the central column shows you the chemical reagent that is added to produce the chemiluminescence. And the last column shows you the sample type. So how these nitrites are determined? In tinned beef or sausages and vegetables, the determination of nitrites become very important because they are carcinogenic in nature. The method is based on the strong chemiluminescence of luminol in alkaline and iodine medium produced online by nitrite and iodine acid. A microflow injection analysis system on a chip for the determination of nitrite in some vegetables and fruits have also been developed. You can see that in the figure. The chip was made by using two transparent polymethyl methacrylate slices of 50 mm to 40 mm and 5 mm in dimensions. And the microchannel etched by carbon dioxide laser were 200 mm wide and 100 meter deep with the volume of reaction area about 1.8 microliter. Nitrite was sensed by the chemiluminescent reaction of luminol with ferricyanide that was a product of the reaction of ferricyanide and nitrate in acidic medium. The linear range of the nitrite concentration is 8 to 100 milligram per liter and the detection limit is roughly 4 gram per liter. Here's a schematic diagram of microflow injection analysis on chip system used for chemiluminescent determination of nitrite. A is the feature on the plate of chip system and B is dimension of the microflow channel. The method has good reproducibility with a relative standard deviation of 4.1% for 50 gram per liter of nitrite and is very simple and sensitive. Another very common substance present in food substances is sugar, and the sugar is important ingredient of many commonly used foods, so therefore determination becomes all the more important. The simplest technique is the reaction of glucose with glucose oxidase in presence of molecular oxygen by addition of molecular oxygen, which results in production of hydrogen peroxide, and after addition of luminol to this solution, chemiluminescence is produced, which is recorded. Coming to determination of sugar, the sugars are important ingredient of some food and the most commonly found sugars are glucose, sucrose, maltose, lactose and fructose. Most of the packaged food material contain these sugars. Excessive consumption of sugars has been associated with increased incidence of obesity and decay. Another method for determination of sugar in samples is used, that is by using simple continuous chemiluminescent system without separating them. That means you can analyze different sugars, for example glucose, fructose, sucrose in ternary mixtures without actually practically isolating them from the mixture. The reaction consists of luminol to potassium ferrocyanide. The method is based on different kinetics of the individual sugars in the oxidation reaction with potassium ferrocyanide, meaning each sugar will react at different speed with potassium ferrocyanide. The chemiluminescence intensity is measured and recorded every second from 1 to 300 seconds. The data obtained is processed using an artificial neural network, and the method has number of advantages. For example, it's a simultaneous detection of sugars. You need not to actually separate the sugars from the mixture. The method has high reproducibility and is simple with time efficiency. Another common thing which is present in food substances and especially packed food substances is preservatives. Determination of preservatives in food products. We all know whatever food products are available in market, they all contain preservatives in certain amount. And we also know from ancient times, certain methods and materials have been used in the treatment of food to prevent it from fermentation and decay, to prevent from bacterial growth or to get it spoiled. With advances in science, chemical materials were used to preserve food material. Chemicals like sodium benzoate, salicylic acid, which are tasteless and odorless, their detection in food has been a matter of great importance. Since you cannot taste them, you cannot say their amount in your food product. So therefore their detection is more important. Most common preservatives nowadays used are formaldehyde, formic acid, salicylic acid, sodium benzoate, sulfurous acid, and sulfites, alkyl esters of para-hydroxybenzoic acid, which are commonly known as parabens, and so on. In next few slides, we will be discussing determination of paraben in food preservatives as a food preservative in food products. Parabens is one of the common preservative used in food products. So parabens include methylparaben, ethylparaben, propylparaben, butylparaben. They are used for prevention of microbial or fungal growth. The maximum permitted concentration of parabens in food is 0.1%. Detection of paraben is based on reaction of paraben and cerium and rhodamine in sulfuric acid medium. The method shows high sensitivity than most of the reported methods. The possible mechanism is that cerium 4 is reduced by the product hydrolyzed by paraben to the excited state cerium 3 in sulfuric acid medium. The energy is then transferred from cerium in excited state to form the excited state rhodamine emitting light. The chemiluminescent immunoassay is another area where chemiluminescent reactions have been used extensively. During enzyme immunoassay, the process uses enzyme-labeled antibodies and antigens to detect small biological molecules required. Based on basic immunology concepts that an antigen binds a specific antibody, this technique has been developed. Such antigen molecules which can be identified in fluid sample includes peptides, hormones, proteins, and other organic substances. The enzyme used in chemiluminescent immunoassay converts a substrate to a reaction product which emits a photon of light instead of developing a particular color. The particular luminescence indicates the presence of the particular antigen and or particular biological molecule. Chemiluminescent immunoassays has an advantage over the traditional immunoassay of short time, or in cases it requires less time to process, because traditional immunoassays always use long incubation periods, which in turn causes the whole analysis to take several hours for completion. So the throughput and application range are largely limited. Researchers have designed different methods to shorten this analysis time by improving mass transportation and reaction kinetics. The rapid immunoassay has expanded the application of chemiluminescent immunoassay. It is a method to determine the concentration of samples according to the intensity of the luminescence that the chemical reaction emits. The next area of chemiluminescent immunoassay. Chemiluminescent immunoassay, as we know, is a method to determine concentration of samples according to intensity of the luminescence that the chemical reaction emits. It combines chemiluminescent system to immunoreactions, and the most popular chemiluminescent substrates are luminol, isoluminol and their derivatives, acridinium, esters, peroxidase, alkyne phosphatase, etc. The most commonly used labeling enzyme is horseradish peroxidase and ALP. Chemiluminescent immunoassay has the advantage of high sensitivity of chemiluminescence and specificity of immunoreactions. It has wide applications and great prospect in clinical diagnosis, food safety, and environmental monitoring. A multilayered chemiluminescent immunoassaying system with substrate zone resolve technique to detect carcinoma antigen 125 and CEA in a single run developed by Zhu et al. Is presented here. The capture antibodies are immobilized on an ultra-blind aldehyde active membrane to act as immunoreactor. The mixture of CA125, CEA, and their corresponding tracer, HRP labeled anti-CA125 and ALP labeled anti-CEA, are introduced for online incubation. The substrate for HRP and ALP are delivered to perform substrate zone resolved immunoassay. The research group also brought up the concept of channel resolved approach and developed an automated multi-layer chemiluminescent immunoassay. This slide shows you channel and substrate zone two-dimensional resolution for multiplex immunoassay of tumor markers. Highly sensitive chemiluminescent immunoassay have also been developed. The development of nanotechnology has helped in number of areas. It has provided great opportunity for the improvement of highly selective chemiluminescent immunoassays. Nanoparticles have a wide application in biolabeling to develop many signal amplification methods for highly sensitive analysis. Gold colloids with nanoparticles of different size have been used to enhance the chemiluminescence of the luminol and peroxide system. The catalytic efficiency of irregular gold nanoparticles on luminol chemiluminescence has been found to be many-fold greater than that of spherical gold nanoparticles. The application of chemiluminescence has been also done in case of biological samples like using Western blotting or using DNA hybridization. Western blotting and detection of the antibodies. The chemiluminescent detection method depends on incubation of the Western blot with a substrate that will luminescence when exposed to the reporter on the secondary antibody. The light is then detected by CCD cameras, which capture a digital image of the Western blot or photographic film. The use of film for Western blot detection is slowly disappearing because of non-linearity of the image, that is, non-accurate quantification. The image is analyzed by densometry, which evaluates the relative amount of protein staining and quantifies the result in terms of optical density. Newer softwares allow further data analysis such as molecular weight analysis if appropriate standards are available. So another technique which has been used is Western blotting for identification of biomolecules. Western blotting is also known as protein blotting. It evolved from DNA blotting, which is called southern blotting, and RNA blotting, also known as northern blotting. Western blotting allows the transfer of proteins from a sodium dodecyl sulfate polyacrylamide gel to the adsorbent membrane, which is also known as SDS page. The blotted protein form an exact replica of the gel and have proved to be the starting step for a variety of experiments. The subsequent employment of antibody probe directed against the nitrocellulose bound proteins has revolutionized the field of immunology. This figure explains you the procedure for Western blotting and detection of the light produced by chemiluminescent reactions. You can see an SDS page, and by Western blotting you can generate an exact copy of the same page, that is blotting from the gel. Then an primary antibody is added to it. It forms a complex with the protein, and enzyme conjugate is added, which helps in reaction and production of the light. It is developed and color is measured as discussed. DNA hybridization can also be detected by using this simple technique. The method employs a biotin streptavidin system which binds an enzyme specifically to a target DNA, and upon exposure to substrate, the enzyme catalyzes a chemiluminescent reaction. The image is captured within seconds by a Polaroid or X-ray film. The method is capable of detecting DNA in the 100 attomolar range. That means it is so sensitive that even the attomolar range of DNA can be detected. Hybridization analysis is based on the principle that two polynucleotides will form a stable hybrid by base pairing if their nucleotide sequence are wholly or partially complementary. A specific restriction fragment in a southern blot can therefore be detected if the membrane is probed with a second labeled DNA molecule that has the same or similar sequence as the fragment being sought. The principle of southern blot. The ability of nitrocellulose powder or sheet to bind DNA has been known for many years and was utilized in 1950s and 1960s in various parts of nucleic acid hybridization studies. In these earlier day techniques, the immobilized DNA was unfractioned, simply consisting of total DNA that was bound to nitrocellulose powder or spotted onto a nitrocellulose sheet. The introduction of gel phoresis in early 1970 has enabled the restriction of fragment of DNA to be separated on the basis of their size, and therefore can be transferred on the basis of different masses to gel or to nitrocellulose support. This slide briefly describes you the process of southern blotting, wherein DNA fragment is on a gel plate and it is then denaturized by the use of alkali and then neutralized, then run on a nitrocellulose membrane gel using filter paper, and then developed to identify the nitrocellulose membrane reaction with the DNA, and hybridization is done to produce a photographic film. The last but not the least application of chemiluminescence, which we'll be discussing in this module, is in forensic sciences. Forensic science is the application of science to criminal and civil laws, mainly on the criminal side, during criminal investigations as governed by the legal standards of admissible evidence and criminal procedure. Forensic scientists collect, preserve, and analyze scientific evidence during the course of investigation. Chemiluminescence applications have also expanded in forensic science. The luminol chemiluminescent reagent has wide application in forensic science. The reaction is responsible for the glow of light sticks. The reaction is used by criminals to detect trace of blood at crime scenes. It is this test, luminol powder is mixed with hydrogen peroxide and a hydroxide in a spray bottle. This solution, the mixture of this solution in this is then sprayed where blood might be found. The iron from the hemoglobin in the blood serves as a catalyst for the chemiluminescence reaction that cause luminol to glow. So a blue glow is produced when the solution is sprayed where there is blood. Only a small amount of iron is required to catalyze the reaction. The blue glow lasts for about 30 seconds before it fades, which is enough time to take photographs of the area so that they can be investigated more thoroughly. This slide shows you the application of chemiluminescence in identifying the trails, or you can say the clues in the crime scene. On the left hand corner, footsteps are made visible by the use of chemiluminescent reaction. A blood trail has been made visible with the help of the luminol reagent, and similarly on the fridge, a chemiluminescent reaction has been produced to identify any adhering substance. The procedure followed is different solutions are prepared. Luminol stock solution by using 2 gram of luminol and 15 gram of potassium hydroxide in 250 ml of water is prepared. A 3% solution of hydrogen peroxide in water is prepared. A potassium ferrocyanide or sterile blood lancet and sterile alcohol pad is used. In a clear test tube or cup is mixed with 10 ml of the peroxide solution, and to activate 0.1 gram of potassium ferrocyanide to the solution is added, or a drop of blood is added. The blood must be on an alcohol pad. The forensic test is for dried or latent blood, so that reaction between the alcohol and the fresh blood is necessary. The luminol works by the following mechanism: that iron in the hemoglobin, which is found in blood, catalyzes an oxidation reaction in which the luminol gains oxygen atom while losing nitrogen and hydrogen. This produces a compound called 3-aminophthalate. The electron in the 3-aminophthalate are in excited state and emits blue light as energy is released when the electrons return to the ground state. For more detailed applications of chemiluminescence in forensic sciences, you can read the following references. So students, let's summarize what we have learned in this module. A brushing up of chemiluminescence concept and its application in various fields of science. We have discussed the application of chemiluminescence in food analysis, like how to determine the carcinogen present in food products like nitrosamine, nitrites. We could also determine the sugars and preservatives in food products by using the same simple technique. The chemiluminescent immunoassays and various other methods of chemiluminescent immunoassays have been discussed. The detection of biological samples by using chemiluminescence agents and the application of chemiluminescence in forensic science have been covered. Thank you.